Good evening. My name is Mark Van Summeren, and I can't begin to tell you how delighted I am to introduce our next honoree, Craig Smith. Craig is a friend, he's a boss, he's a mentor, and truly an inspiration to me, and I think you've heard others, Jamie Kowalski and others, talk about this. Craig, like each of our past and present honorees, has had a long, distinguished, impactful career in healthcare. He started with Johnson & Johnson, joined National Medical, was acquired by Owens & Minor, became divisional president, vice president out in California, and worked his way up through the ranks. At which point, when I really had the opportunity to work with Craig, learn from him, be inspired by him, and see what he could do with this industry. And as we prepared Craig's nomination, I began it with the thought that you never follow a legend. Well, Craig followed a legend. One of our former honorees, Gil Minor III, at Bellwether. Craig was the first CEO and or chairman to run Owens & Minor, whose last name wasn't Minor. That company dates back to 1882. Publicly traded company, behaves like a family-oriented, family-run business in the truest respect of the word. And I see Tom nodding and agreeing with that statement. Craig's accomplishments are many, and I won't belabor many of them, but just touch on a few in what he did as Chief Operating Officer, as President, CEO, and Chairman until his retirement as Executive Chairman this past April. You recall Burroughs Corporation. Well, Craig led the acquisition of Burroughs. He led the acquisition of McKesson's acute med surg business, which the combination of those two created Owens & Minor as the largest acute medical surgical distributor in the country. His leadership brought that together. But at that point, he recognized, being the true visionary that he is, that Owens & Minor's ability to survive another 125 years from that point in time was that it had to expand its boundaries, expand its scope and its thinking. And so on a greenfield basis, he oversaw the establishment of a third-party logistics function focused on healthcare to broaden beyond medical surgical commodities and into devices and implants. He reached into Europe, acquired Movianto and more recently Arc Royal. He reached into Southeast Asia and created Miramed Source. So he took this 135-year-old company dedicated to acute med-surg distribution in the US and made it a global player and built it around the vision of connecting the world of medical products to the point of care. Craig would probably argue that his greatest and most proudful accomplishment is what he did in establishing Owens & Minor University. Perhaps one of the early examples in our industry of a internal, educational, university-type setting to train teammates, to advance their careers, to advance their education, to make them better contributors, more holistic individuals. But he didn't stop with the teammates, and he took it out and offered it up to customers. And the Department of Defense was one of the best customers, if you will, taking advantage of that. And every year, dozens of our best and brightest military logisticians go through Owens & Minor University, and that was really Craig's vision. But the one thing that, and I'll conclude on this and ask Craig to come up and join us, that he doesn't take enough credit for is making that transformation, transforming a company of that size and doubling it under his stewardship, but retaining the culture. And Owens & Minor always had a very unique and special culture. And Craig's ability to not only retain but advance that culture during the midst of that transformation is really unprecedented. And I think a lot of us have a lot to learn and observe from that. And Craig, I couldn't be more honored. Please come up and join us.
Gee, I'd like to go back to work after that. Thank you, Mark. I want to thank Bellwether League for this recognition tonight. And I want to congratulate all of the 2017 inductees. And I went back, I went online today, and I started to look at all the people that have been honored and recognized by Bellwether League. And it's very humbling to be up here tonight. And I started to reflect and look at the pictures of many people that have been inducted, and many of them were teachers, advisors, and mentors to me as I moved up through my career. And then I walked in the room over here tonight, and I saw many old friends, many customers, and many advisors, and many mentors. And again, I was very humbled. And I'd like to leave you with one thought tonight as I reflected back today and reflected on my career. I've been very fortunate that I've always had someone that has looked over my shoulder. One is my lovely wife, Cynthia. But many people who in my career gave me an extra word of advice, steered me in a certain direction. And many of those people are here. And I've had the fortunate opportunity to get heavily involved in two schools of supply chain, the University of Colorado and USC. One of the startling things that I find about young students is they're very tied into data analytics and information, which obviously is something that is very key for our healthcare industry. And the more transparent we can be and the more information we can share, the better off we're all going to be and the patients in the long run will be. One thing that I've noticed, though, that they seem to be lacking or missing in is the personal part of our business that as I was growing up, it was always about collaboration. It was always trying to do something better for healthcare. It was always trying to move things along a little bit. So if there's something that I can encourage you to do tonight is to be a mentor or an advisor or a teacher to a young person coming up through supply chain. They certainly understand the data, they understand operations, but there's still very much a people part of our business that we can help these young people as they move up in their organizations to understand and make healthcare better in the future and better today. Thank you very much.